We are barreling towards Roger versus Rafa in the semifinals of the 2019 edition of Indian Wells. But will we get that match? Mr. Goat, will we get that match? Today on an extraordinary coffee break tennis quick sip, I'll give you the scouting report on what I think about Hurkacz, who will be playing Roger Federer, and Rafa versus the big man, Khachanov. Welcome to Coffee Break Tennis, the fastest growing tennis talk show in the world. I am your host, Matt Bradshaw. Your co-host, Mr. Goat, has run off looking for things to eat. I apologize for not being able to do this show earlier in the day. This video will probably hit just 30 minutes maybe before Roger takes the court. Then Rafa will be on right after that. But still, I wanted to put this out there so it is a matter of record what I thought before we go to this match. Now, first off, Hurkacz. This guy reminds me, I said in the last video, I've never seen him play. I forgot. I have seen him play. I've seen him play twice, and very recently, he's lost to Stefanos Tsitsipas 3 times. Now, one of those is that Milan tournament, the next-gen tournament from last year, which I don't really watch that tournament. Anytime you're not playing to 6 games in a set, I don't consider it real tennis. It's like an exhibition. But they did play in Marseille, that ATP 250 tournament. And then, of course, they played again in Dubai. The Marseille match was kind of beat down city for Tsitsipas. I think it was 6-4, 6-2. And then they had 3 pretty long, brutal sets. With the third set, the guy just kind of fell apart and Tsitsipas ran through him. I remember both these matches. I don't know why I forgot it was Hurkacz. But I'll tell you one thing I thought then, and especially now after I watched his match with El Shapo, this guy reminds me a lot of Andy Murray. Just the way he looks, the way he moves out for the return, the way he hits his open stance backhand. He likes to hang back on the return to serve pretty far behind the court. Now, Shapo should have won. Shapo had a volley to break his serve. I think so. It must have been 30-40 or add out. Shapo had an easy volley. Hurkacz was way out of position. The volley, little tap volley, would have won the point. That would have broke. Shapo would have served for the first set, and then Shapo won the second set 6-2. And this is a problem with Hurkacz. Dude hits a lot of unforced errors, especially on the backhand side. We've seen from Craig O'Shaughnessy's analysis that these guys will aim for the backhand off the return until they play lefties. Roger is one of the best at redirecting his return on second serves to the ad court up the line towards a lefty's backhand. That's how important it is to Roger to make sure he finds the backhand on second serve return. So if Roger can just keep that pattern going like always, he's going to get a lot of free points from directing what is not a very good second serve, much like Andy Murray, from Hurkacz. Hurkacz is very tough mentally. You can see from that match in Dubai. Obviously, he ran out of steam in the end against Stefanos Tsitsipas, but pretty tough guy. Will dig deep. He's got a couple wins over Nishikori now, and when he beat Nishikori here again, I believe he did lose the first set, so he has no problem coming back. He had no problem suffering a bad loss, a kind of embarrassing loss in the second set to Shapo, Shapo, and he came back and won the third set fairly easily. And he comes back and wins the third set, wins the match. So this guy is tough. If Roger is struggling, look for trouble. Look for Roger to take care of a lot of easy points at the net, though. This guy, when he's returning serve especially, he stays way back. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for Roger to work on coming into the net. Also, this guy, I know most players on tour don't come into the net a lot, but Hurkacz comes into the net even less than average. Speaking of average, his serve is pretty average. His first serve, a little bit like the Tsitsipas Federer model, hits a lot of serves in the 120s, doesn't have like a big cannon, but he goes for the spots. He tries to be a spot server. He just doesn't hit the spots as well, as often as Federer, as Tsitsipas. Second serve, something Roger's going to be able to attack, unless Roger is just having one of those days where he's missing a bunch of easy returns. Sometimes, that happens with Roger Federer. I expect this to be possibly some beatdown city, a net show from Roger. Get to see him come to the net a lot in this match, and I'm sure the team is already talking about this is going to be a great way to exploit Hurkacz's ultimate weakness. So look for that. An attackable serve, second serve in particular, a lot of hanging back with opportunities to come to the net, and a lot of unforced errors all around, especially on the backhand side. Now, let's talk about Khachanov. Now, looking at Khachanov, he's been struggling lately. One thing I somehow missed, which I apologize for being the show host of the fastest-growing tennis talk show in the world. I should have known this, but I didn't. Old Khachanov, he switched rackets. Now, there is a history of players when they switch rackets, bad things happen. Remember Novak Djokovic, what is it, like maybe 2010, somewhere around there? He switched rackets. I don't remember what racket he switched to, but I just remember Djokovic switched rackets, and there was a lot of struggling around that time for him. Remember Roger Federer, when he first switched from the 90-inch racket like this to a 97, he tried it out at some smaller tournaments before the U.S. Open, after Wimbledon. And when would that have been? It must have been 2013 when that happened, I think. So Roger experimented with it and ultimately said, hey, I'm not ready for this switch. It's going to mess me up. He went back to the 90-inch racket just for the U.S. Open and I think the rest of the year. And then in 2014, they got the racket to where he wanted it. He got to experiment with it in the off-season when he knows you're going to struggle a little bit. Then he had the 97-inch racket and the rest is history. Khachanov has switched back to his old racket, so that could explain why he was struggling and why he's doing better now. In my last video, I went on and on about Isner's advantages over Rafa, because I really thought because of the struggles with old Khachanov that Isner would come through. He didn't come through. Take all that and apply it to Rafa. And, I don't have to explain it to you. You've already seen it happen at the U.S. Open. This surface, pretty similar to the U.S. Open surface. High bouncing, slower, medium-ish hard court. Faster than we thought at the beginning of the tournament, but still pretty slow. Rafa's best weapon on these high-bouncing surfaces, the high-bouncing forehand that he can do so much with, and he can hit from literally anywhere in the court, whether he's on defense or on offense, he's always going to put in a pretty good forehand. It's not going to be as effective against these big, tall guys like Karen Khachanov or John Isner because it's right in their strike zone. It's not over the shoulders. It's right where they want it. Also, like we saw at the U.S. Open, obviously, Rafa ended up winning. What was that score line, just for the refresh me? Yeah, 7-5, 7-5, 7-6, 7-6, with Rafa winning the second, third, and fourth sets. That is not a match that Rafa wants to go through again. He might be able. He's playing really well. Khachanov is really hungry to have some good results after the struggle he's been through for most of this year so far. Expect to see a lot of free, easy points from Khachanov, just like I said with the Isner stuff. It all applies here. Craig O'Shaughnessy did that study very recently saying top three guys, Joker, Federer, the big three, Rafa, Federer, Djokovic, when they get that serve back in play, first serve, no matter who they're playing, on average on tour, they win half the time. Khachanov, Isner, these are guys, they're not like Hurkacz. These are guys who can really rev up the serve into high speeds, and they don't come back from anyone, even the best guys. So will we get Roger and Rafa, Fadal, again? Fadal, like the poster behind me. I think we will, but if we don't, it's not going to be Roger's fault. It's going to be Rafa. A couple quick comments, and then we'll get out of here. Tomorrow, we're going to go do Beer Hall Zamstag, where we take comments, tweets, all of that stuff. Subscribe here. Follow me on the Twitters at Coffee Break TENS, like the number 10, Coffee Break Tens. Follow me on the INSTANTgram at Coffee Break Tennis, like we spell it here. During the match tomorrow, if we get to see Roger and Rafa, I'll do a video after, unless they make it like 10, 11 p.m. here again, but I think it'll be earlier. I'll do a video right after, so make sure you tweet at me or you just come back to this video and comment below. Let me know what you think of the match. We're going to have so much to talk about on Beer Hall Zamstag. Let's finish today's show. Instead of doing the music and all that, let's finish today's show with a couple comments I really liked from the last video. Of course, the last video started with El Shapo, El Rapo. I'll give you one comment here, then I'll give you my response to the comment, and then I'll give you the second comment at the end of this video. This is from Daniel Nicolás. Let's ask Shapovalov to explain all of this with rap. And what does he mean by all of this? He means explain the whole drama with the ATP president being fired by Djokovic, Roger and Rafa getting involved, siding against Djokovic. So again, I read to you, Daniel Nicolás. It says, let's ask Shapovalov to explain all this ATP president board drama with rap. I give to you El Shapo explaining it with rap.
Top 50 on the tour, man, it's hella lit. Happy with the president, man, I mean the tennis president. I said now prize money is double, player council and treble. Joker just a resident, Federer they the presidents. Now Rafa is a wolf, nothing rhymes with wolf. Roger is a wolf, I wish I was a wolf. Canada has wolves, that's why I like wolves. I'd like to pet a wolf, please don't bite me, Mr. Wolf. No, don't need no union, take your communion. Screw what you do doing, and you're fake cooing. Djokovic, you ain't right. Give him stops in court, right? This is where I turn out the light. Now tuck you in and go night night. That's how you rap, El Shapo. I mean, it was okay.
Hey!